Let's do it one more time. Good morning. Much better. Okay, and for those who are just walking in, let's do it a third time and we'll be here. Good morning. Much better. Okay, well, I know that Moodle is down. We might have crashed it. Who knows? Nonetheless, we cannot do the exam today, clearly. Oh, I'm sure you're upset by that. So this is the way we're going to do it. When Moodle comes back up, which hopefully will be today or tomorrow, you will be given a 2-day window before the exam happens in which you can study and read the PowerPoints and the two chapters that are in the on Moodle about this section of the course. And then John Kornfeld over here, who is the sort of the ringmaster of this whole event, will announce to you that when the exam will be. And the exam is going to have a window of about 24 hours. So don't all take it at once. Not that you're going to know when everybody else is taking it, but you can take it any amount of time. I think it'll start from 10 o'clock whenever we put it up until 6 p.m. the next day. So it's more than 24 hours, actually. The exam will be about 45 minutes. I don't think it'll take that long. There are 30 multiple choice questions. They are randomly placed in the exam format, so you can't cheat. Watch it looking over your friends' papers or exams or anything, because it's very randomized. And then Moodle will score them, and then Moodle will have them posted beside your name. I'm not sure how long after the exam has closed down. We'll look into it. I'm sort of the guinea pig for all of this to see how it's working. So that's why I'm a little concerned that with 760 of you, that might be why Moodle crashed over the weekend. So for now, that's all we know. So I'm still going to let you out of here at a reasonable time today between 9 and 9:15, so that 45 minutes counts towards the exam whenever we get to take it. So do you have any questions? Come and put a hand up if you've got one, and we can figure it out. No? Yeah. All right. He can't hear you. John will send you an email saying that it's up. Okay. And saying when the exam will be. Okay. And if you have any questions, a lot of people have been emailing me or John Kornfeld. Feel free to do so. We will answer your questions, as we have been. So, and this is my last day. I'll be back at the end of the course to help wrap it up. But we're done today. I'm done today on how does social change look and what does family look like as it has changed. So today's format is I'm going to finish up what I was doing the other day on the history of the family without the PowerPoint up there. And then we're going to have a panel. Genevieve Sullivan from JUMP, Join Us Making Progress, is going to do an orientation and a discussion on SSU as family. And then we have a panel of our TAs who are going to be talking about how they built family and community here at SSU, because we took it from the general and we're going down to the specifics of you now being fit in the context of social change. And on Wednesday, Dean Silver from the School of Business will be here to introduce you to the concept of leadership and how you yourselves will become leaders of the 21st century. So you've gotten the historical and social context for what we're doing for the rest of the semester. I also want to say something about the music today. The music was done by Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen is certainly old by your standards. He's in his 70s. He was a very popular musician in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and then he went into an ashram and was there for many years, I think 20 years, and then recently came out of, I think it was a temple, a Buddhist ashram. And his music really spoke to a generation. And I urge you to go online and check out Leonard Cohen. The music that I chose for today is called In the Land of Plenty. And he says in that song, "May the light of the land of plenty shine on the truth someday." I don't really have the temperament to lend a helping hand, but there's something about society that makes me speak today. For I lift my voice and I pray, I don't really know who sent me to raise my voice to say, let the light in the land of plenty shine on the truth someday. And he talks about prisoners, and he talks about poverty. And it's a very touching and beautiful song. By the way, if you're turned on to his music, he's going to be in Oakland in March. And he's quite a showman. And in fact, he influenced Bob Dylan. He had an affair with, I can't remember who it was, some very famous rock musicians. He's known, and Rufus Wainwright, who is a very popular contemporary musician, uses his music all of the time. It was Janis Joplin, by the way, so some of you might know the music of Janis Joplin. Anyway, so that's why I wanted to turn you on to some music that you might not know and might find meaningful, because he's a very deep poet. Okay, so the other day I was talking about the history of the family. And we had talked about how the family had been, in agrarian times, in rural times, the family-based economy, where everybody did everything together, and the family was really the center of everyone's universe. It was the hospital, it was the mental hospital, it was the school, it was the factory. The family did absolutely everything together, and it was an idyllic time. And we then moved into the family wage economy, in which it was factory-based, and families started to go out into society to make a living, and gender roles changed because young women then were able to work and bring in a living, and all kinds of family. One young man, as I was walking out of here the other day, said, well, did that mean that families got smaller? And the answer was absolutely yes, because people didn't need as many hands around the farm anymore, and it cost a lot to raise children, so families started to shrink. It was also the time when all these popular culture things like movies and carnivals and parades and fairgrounds and theme parks began to pop up, because it was an opportunity now for people who had leisure time to spend time together, spending the money that they earned in the factories. And then we moved into the next era, which I don't have the slides for, unfortunately, because of Moodle, but it's called the family consumer economy. And so if you're taking notes, this is where we pick up from the last class. And it's a short little piece that we're going to do. So usually when I have Moodle up, there's a picture of people shopping in department stores. And I think a lot of us can relate to the family consumer economy, although I think we've moved into a fourth stage that I'm going to talk about before I end today. So what is the family consumer economy? Well, I know some of you, when you go home, many of you, including when my daughter lives in Oregon, and when she comes down here, we go shopping together, right? We end up going to Corte Madera, or we go somewhere to buy her a bicycle, or God knows what we shop for, but we shop together. Well, the story is that this is really at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. What happened here, and it continued through the 1950s, post-war, 1960s, 1970s, even into a bit of today, wages started to increase, particularly after World War II, but wages started to go up and consumer items started to get much cheaper. Everything was mass-produced now in factories. Factories here in the United States at first, now factory, as we saw on the labels on our shirts, factories elsewhere started to produce goods that made it a lot cheaper to buy things. And as a result, during this earlier era, women and children were not forced to work in the way that they had to when we had a family-based economy or a family wage economy. So in a family consumer economy, there was a lot of free time available for people to go out and shop. The father, by the way, during that time, this family consumer economy is really when fathers became the primary breadwinners, especially in the middle and the upper classes. But the family became the center of consumption, of buying goods rather than producing them. So no longer did you have to go out and churn your butter and bake your bread. You could go down to the corner creamery or grocery store and buy everything that you needed. So we really saw a change. Now, the fathers went to work, and many times as they got older, the unmarried children went to work. But we really saw a division of labor happening here because moms stayed home and took care of the kids and took care of the houses. And this is where we really saw a stretching of the power differential between men and women. This is where, with mom staying home and dad going out to earn the keep, particularly for middle and upper class families, we really saw the division of labor really separating dramatically. And this actually is a time when we see the beginning of child labor laws developing as well, because some people did try to put their children to work, and there were unsavory conditions in the workplace, and so that's when it became law that young children had to go to school, go to public school, and no longer could they work all the time, and that there were certain conditions under which they could work. And so compulsory education became part of the law of the land, and girls were allowed to work until they got married. Now this, of course, evolved over time because eventually, as economies changed, we saw that both men and women later in after the 1980s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, more women began working, particularly being kicked off by World War II. Because in World War II, when men had to go off and fight in the wars, women were then able to go to work in factories and began to make more money. So we saw the changing of the economic conditions based on war, and then after World War II, women remained in the workforce, maybe not as extensively as they did during the war, but it opened the doors for them so that they began to get an inkling of what it was like to make some money and liked it. And so we really saw after World War II, and particularly through the 1960s, World War II ended in the early 1940s, and a lot of women stayed home for about those 15 years, but in those 1960s, women really started to enter the workforce again in a more concerted way, and it was a very exciting time. And so the family became the center of consumption and buying, buying goods and going shopping together. Now, let me say, lots of families, poor families, immigrant families, didn't live this lifestyle. I'm only talking about the dominant society, the dominant white society at the time. When you read the second chapter that I've assigned to you, I have described what life is like outside of the United States and for poor people and immigrant families. In immigrant families and poor families, everybody worked and continued to work, no matter how the changes happened in the dominant white society. So now we've taken ourselves, and I'm doing a quick and dirty overview of the history of the family, but now we find ourselves in the 2000s, and what we have now is an era that is being, the history is being written right now, and it's called the Family Technology Society, or the Family Technology Economy. And this, very interestingly, I remember reading a book in graduate school, it would have been in the 1970s, by Alvin Toffler, and it was called The Third Wave. And in that book, he talked about how technology and computers were going to change family life. He argued that it was going to bring the family together. Very interestingly, the man was absolutely right. All of us know how much we use technology to communicate with our families. We text on a regular basis, we do Facebook, we do Twitter, we game with family members on a regular basis. I do Scrabble with my daughter, even though she's, almost 1,000 miles away. But I'm able to communicate with her on a regular basis because of the technology. I follow her on Facebook. I know what's happening with her. I know what's going on with friends who are halfway around the world because of family technology. So the story is being unfolded as we speak, but as you begin to study in the rest of this course, you're going to take a look at the impact of technology on family life, the impact of technology on your very own life, and how it has evolved, as we discussed earlier this semester, how it has evolved even in your own time, and how quickly it is evolving today. Of course, it's not without its problems, as we well know, just looking at how Moodle went down when it can't really handle as many people trying to use the technology at once. Now, I was going to, with the slideshow, do a whole lot of more on family life in different parts of the globe, but I really want to make sure that we have enough time for the panel and for all that we have to do today. So let me suggest that what I would really like to charge all of you to do is to stretch yourselves. I want you to consider studying elsewhere in the United States or elsewhere in the world. I want you to consider study abroad or semester at sea or study in other schools around the country, because that kind of an experience will show you the diversity and complexity of family life and life elsewhere, that we are not all as we are in California or in Northern California. Those of you from Southern California know it's quite different up here than it is down there. Well, imagine going to the East Coast, or imagine going to Russia or South Africa and seeing and experiencing what life is like in other parts of the globe, so that you can see the changes that have happened historically and contemporarily in family lives and in lives of people your very own age. So I'm going to wrap up here and have Genevieve come up with the TAs. But before I do, since this is really my last interaction with all of you, I'd like you to ask me any questions or talk to me about anything that might have been provocative or thought-provoking, or questions that you might have had in the 4 days that I've been talking to you. Anybody have anything they want to ask? No? You're sitting in a room where Yo-Yo Ma played on Saturday night. By the way, we're sorry the lights are out, but appears to be some technical difficulties here too. So that's why it's dark in here. I can barely see you. Any questions or anything at all? You see any hands, TAs, anywhere? No? All right, so email me if you need to know something. I would like you to feel free to talk to me. Let me say it's been a real honor and a privilege to teach you for these 4 sessions. So now I'd like Genevieve Sullivan and the TAs to come up here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Genevieve Sullivan, and I am the Associated Students Community Service Coordinator. Oh, sorry, right here.
Yes.
Good. Is this better?
Can you hear her?
Oh, is this better? This is new.
The first time was better?
This was better? Okay, I promise I won't eat the microphone this morning. Oh, hello, all the TAs are coming up. So I work with JUMP, which is Join Us Making Progress, the community service organization here on campus. Do I have any jumpers in the audience? There's like 5. They're really loud. There's only like 2 of them. And I was asked to come up here to kind of talk to all of you about not only a little bit about what I do, but also just SSU as family and the community that you belong to here on campus and in Rohnert Park. I am originally from northern Indiana near Chicago, so you'll notice that I have a little bit of an accent. Mostly when I say accent, it comes out. So if you were wondering where that came from. And I also used to call it Rohnert Park, so if I accidentally do that, I apologize. So I'm so excited to be up here. This is the biggest crowd that I've probably ever talked in front of, and I would never have been able to do it without you your mandatory attendance policy. So thank you all for coming. And let's see, a little bit about Join Us Making Progress. I'm going to be back here next Wednesday actually to talk a little bit about a community service component to the class that you may or may not know about, but spoiler alert, it's coming. And so we'll go a little bit more into that. But JUMP is brought to you by Associated Students, which is also brings you things like ASP. Have you heard of ASP? Anyone? Just thank you, Becca. Also, our MAC team, we do communications. We have our student government comes through ASP, as well as, what am I missing? Business office, the children's school here on campus. So your student fees kind of go to all of these things that help provide opportunities for you. We also work really closely with SLICE, which is where all of Greek Life and our student organizations are a part of. So can I just a round of applause? Who is part of either Greek Life or some sort of student organization on campus? I see a lot of letters today. Great, so you are already involved in one way, perhaps outside of your academic coursework or your residence halls, so that's great. So just as Elaine has talked about family and community the last few weeks, it's important to know that you belong to a community here. It's really, it's not just any community, you have an SSU family. And you can think about your SSU family in a lot of different ways. You have a bunch of small communities that you're a part of. Who has lived or currently lives in one of the residence halls on campus? Yeah, that's a community, right? It's not always the best or most fun, and sometimes it is the best and most fun. It's just like a family living with all of those people in your residence halls. Who is, let's see, we already did Greek Life and Clubs. Who's a part of student government? Hi, Stan. What's another Greek one? What? FASU? See? What does FASU stand for?
Filipino and Asian American at Sonoma State University.
That's great. See, we have lots of clubs and organizations. So I think it's important that, you know, just like your family, when you think about the family that you have, and when you're sitting around your table, whether it be every week you guys had dinner with your family, if it's at holidays or a special occasion, and I always find that it's more fun, and it has always been more fun when you engage with your family, right? So sometimes it can be dramatic conversations, sometimes it can be a lot of laughter and fun, but it's more fun when you engage and when you step in, and I think the SSU community is the same. You're gonna meet more people, you're going to feel a larger part of the community if you step in and engage in it. And so all of the people who belong to anything, whether it be a club, Greek Life, organization, really engaged in your residence halls, whether it be even part of academic clubs and organizations on campus to really make things a little more exciting and to really put back into the community what you're getting from it through your classwork. So let's see, I'm going to have the TAs talk a little bit about themselves and the communities that they're involved in on campus, and we're going to open it to questions afterwards if we have time. So start thinking about, you know, what questions you have for types of organizations that they belong to or ways that they can get engaged into the community. So I'm going to have the TAs introduce themselves, tell us your name, what year you are here at SSU, your area of study, and your favorite cut of meat or vegetable. So think on that a little bit. My name's Genevieve Sullivan. I work at JUMP. I've been here for 6 months. And My current favorite vegetable, which I never would have said when I still lived in Chicago, is I've been making kale chips a lot recently and kind of digging that. I know it sounds maybe gross for those who haven't had it yet, but it's my new favorite.
I'm Tori. I'm a transfer student, so this is my second semester here at Sonoma. I'm a history major, and my favorite cut of meat is a sirloin steak.
I'm Katie. I'm a senior here. This is my last semester as an undergrad. I'm a history major and an anthropology minor, and my favorite vegetable is zucchini.
I'm Samantha, and I'm a sophomore at Sonoma State. I'm a biology major and a minor in ENSP, and my favorite vegetable, oddly enough, is Brussels sprouts.
Nice. Hi. Oh, dang. I'm sorry. My name is Shaitra Kin, but I go by Reed, as everyone knows. I am a sociology major, Spanish minor, and since I'm a new carnivore these days, I would say it's pork chop.
Hi, I'm Dee. I'm a grad student in the education department, and my favorite cut of meat is tri-tip.
Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm a psych major. I'm a sophomore, and my favorite vegetable is probably broccoli.
Hi, my name is Michaela. I'm a junior, and I'm a Hutchins major with a psych minor, and I like carrots.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a junior, transfer student. I'm a sociology major, and my favorite cut of meat is prime rib.
Nice. I got a lot of response for Brussels sprouts and prime rib, so that's good. That's exciting. If you could all just kind of go back when we're talking about different communities that we belong to at Sonoma State, what communities do you belong to? If we could just pass the microphone back and have everyone kind of talk about where they belong here.
As a transfer student, it's only my second semester here, but I live in Beaujolais, so I'm part of the Beaujolais Hillside community. I live in Classico, and I'm part of the Hillside Village Council. I'm the media publicist, so that was a way for me to get involved on campus and meet some people. We put on programs for the Hillside Village, so anything you see is probably put on by us. If you live in Beaujolais or Tuscany, come out. They're really fun. We're also under RSA, which is the Residential Student Association, and they put on bigger events for the whole residential community. So it's a way for you to get involved if you still live on campus.
I am a CSA in Tuscany, so that's where most of my involvement comes in, but I also work with RSA through being a CSA, so that's another connection with RSA. I also have been a peer mentor, so I have that connection with other parts of the community at Sonoma.
Just like Michaela, I'm a CSA in Tuscany. Like she said, through Res Life, we do lots of activities through there, so you should come out and join us.
I belong to the Veterans Club as a retired military member, and I also have the community of everybody in graduate school that's going through the same program I am.
Like I said before, I'm part of FASU, which is the Filipino and Asian American at Sonoma State University, as well as sorry, I'm really loud. As well as I'm part of Black Scholars United, which is also known as BSU. I was a peer mentor last year for the University 102 class, which is for the EOP program, which stands for Educational Opportunity Program here at Sonoma State. And I'm also in that club as well, so the EOP club.
I attend the meetings for the pre-health club, which helps you get into graduate school to become a doctor. And that's pretty much it.
I'm not really in any clubs or organizations on campus. I am part of the history club, but my community is really my friends that I met in the residence hall. We have dinner every week, even though we don't live together anymore. And so that's really part of my community. It's very small.
I am also part of Hillside Village Council, and I'm also part of History Club, which is really fun. We have some field trips and stuff coming up, so if that interests you, go History Club. And I think that's all I'm involved in, but I like to consider like my dorm its own little community because we all help out and we all have different things, and It's pretty fun stuff.
Great, you can keep that.
Cool.
So I'm glad not only that people mentioned their clubs and organizations, but also the other communities they're involved with. If you sat and thought about all of the communities that you're a part of here at Sonoma State, your list can get pretty long. I mean, even here we have academic clubs, we have, there's sports clubs and sports program that we have here. Also, like I mentioned before, Greek life, but also the community within your residence halls, your friends, the group of people you hang out with, the group of people you eat lunch with every day are all part of different communities and are all part of the broader SSU family that you are part of. And in general as well, sorry, I keep using a lot of words because I'm nervous because there's so many of you. Not only are you a member of this family, but also because we're in Roanoke Park, you're a member of the Roanoke Park family. How many of you leave campus and go into Roanoke Park or Cotati at least twice a week? Raise your hands. Quite a few, right? And probably some of you who do go out more than that to Cotati or to Roanoke Park. And I think it's important to remember that we're a part of that community as well. A lot of people live off of campus. And you are part of those neighborhoods and those families as well and represent SSU every time that you leave campus because you are an SSU student. On top of that, we are also part of the Northern California community. So just as Elaine was saying, you know, when you live in different parts of the country, every area that you live in is going to be a little bit different than the one you came from. I can tell you there's a lot more fresh vegetable gardens here than there were in Chicago. There's also a lot less snow. So those are both positives. And I haven't seen a hot dish here yet. Anyone know what a hot dish is? Casserole? No? See? That's all very Midwestern. And it's important to know the communities that you're a part of so that you can better understand and engage in those communities. So if anyone wants to take this question, and we can pass the mic around, how did you get involved in the communities here that you're involved with? How did that start?
Well, since I'm a biology major, I'm in Darwin a lot, and I saw a flyer for pre-health club, and I was thinking about maybe becoming a doctor, a naturopathic physician, so that's how I decided to go to the meetings for pre-health club and see the other possible professions that they offer as well.
I got started in joining my communities more so because I feel as if on this campus I'm somewhat of a minority, so I wanted to be surrounded by people who I felt I could relate to on a more cultural base, and so that's why I joined BSU and FASU, because for one, I come from Sacramento, which is filled with a lot of Asians, and so I really wanted to be surrounded by them. When I came here, I was like, oh my god, Asians, and so I had to join it.
I join communities when I'm interested and when I feel the need to serve.
Ever since high school, I've always held a leadership position, so trying to get involved on campus, especially with Res Life, they have lots of programs that are free, so I would go out and help a lot of my CSAs. So when I wanted to apply, I did that, and now I'm part of the CSA community.
Mine's pretty much the same as far as CSAs go. It's a tight-knit group, so I was looking for like a smaller niche within a bigger community. So,
as a transfer student, I was just looking for any way to get involved on campus pretty much, and in the beginning of the fall semester, Alvin, the RLC for Bouge, emailed out and said that they were going to be having elections for the Hillside Village Council, and I was just like, oh, well, that seems like something to get involved in. I've always been involved in leadership since I was, you know, a freshman in high school, 8th grade in middle school, so it was just a way for me to continue doing what I like and to get involved on campus and meet more people.
Anyone else? Thank you all for sharing. Anyone in the audience want to share how they became involved with any of their communities on campus? Or any communities that aren't represented here by our wonderful TAs that want to talk about? We're going to get another mic. I threw everyone for a loop here.
thank you. I'm coming for you.
Okay, well, I'm on the rowing team, the rowing club, I guess, for Sonoma State, and we have a lot of rowers in here. So if you see us in our lovely attire, we come straight from practice every morning, and it's a good way to be in a sport, and we are all best friends, and a good way to get your daily workout in. So if you want to join rowing, come join rowing.
So if I can ask, why did you decide to join rowing to begin with?
I knew I wanted to get involved in a sport because I have always been athletic. And I heard about rowing at Big Night, and I decided to go to the meeting and see what it's all about. And it just kind of drew me in, and I tried it, and I loved it, and this is my second year. So.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Oh, we have a student.
Hi, my name is Stanley. I'm a senior. I'm a member of Alpha Psi. I was last year's IFC president, and I'm currently the chair of the Senate for the Associated Students. Reason why I got involved was, one, just to branch out. As Dean Leeder said, if you stay in your tight comfort zone, you're not going to get the true value of your education. I'm a strong believer that I learn, honestly, more outside the classroom than I have inside. I'm a chemistry major, so I have a small group in that. But was it satisfying why I wanted to become as a leader? So branching out, so that's why I wanted to be involved.
Great, thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Jenny. I am a part of the EOP club on campus, and the reason why I joined is because I am an EOP student, and I joined because I feel closer to my EOP community like that, because I have a lot of friends who are in EOP. If there are any EOP students here, we have a Facebook group that you can always join and see when our meetings are. And if you're interested in coming to any events, we have events that go on and they're a lot of fun. And yeah, so I really enjoy being in the EOP club because it just makes me feel a lot more, I guess, at home. So.
That's great. What is EOP? What does the acronym stand for?
The Educational Opportunity Program.
Great. You all raised your hands when you said that you were involved in things. Okay, so let's try this way. Why don't you, we won't have the microphone, you can just shout out words and I'll just say them again, but what are some reasons, just one or two words, why someone would want to get involved on campus? Bored, friends, connections, networking. Party. I heard that right. It's true. Social networks, not internet ones. Builds your resume. How many people have joined something and part of the reason was at least a little bit to build your resume? Everyone should have their hand up because you guys ought to start doing that. It's important to think about why you join things, not only because You want to, but the benefits that it could bring you. Did I see a hand raised a second ago? I was going to call on somebody. What other reasons are there to belong? What about mandatory? So do you, I know we talked a little bit with the EOP, had some because you were just a member of it. Is there a live-on requirement for your first year here? No. Some schools will have live-on requirements, so you have to, like when I went in college, you had to live in the residence hall your first year. But a lot of you choose to as well, and that's a lot of community. What else? Your academic classrooms. This is a community right here that is, I mean, you chose to be in this class, but you didn't choose the people that you were in this class with. Okay, I'm not sure I have, yeah. So I want you guys to all think a little bit about all of those communities that we've mentioned, and there are a bunch more. I mean, even myself, I've been here for 6 months. I'm a part of JUMP. Thank you. I'm also a part of Associated Students, which is your fee-funded student government, Associated Students Productions JUMP that I was talking about earlier, because they are who JUMP is under. I've become a part of this community by being asked to come in and speak with you, not only today, but coming back next Wednesday to talk about community service projects. Became part of the Northern California community and started eating kale chips. That's a big step for me. And I think it's important just to really think about the communities that you're involved with, either whether it be your friend group, your Greek life organization. Oh, I'm not a member of AOPI. I'm a member of the AOPI family. I'm an advisor, but I am a member of the Alpha Phi sorority, but we don't have that here on campus, so I advise AOPI. And those are all things that have just been a part of my 6 months, and some are mandatory for me, and some aren't. Some are voluntary, and it's important, I think, to remember that the more you're engaged within your own community, the happier you're going to be in your community, and the more change that you can make within your community. So I think that's about it. Any final thoughts from our TAs about getting involved?
I'll just say that college is what you'll make of it. So if you want to be involved, you have to just kind of step outside of your comfort zone and get involved. You have to look for ways to become involved. A lot of times, if you check your emails, things will come through that you can get involved in or will spark your interest. Look at the bulletin boards in like your residence halls or in buildings on campus, or check out the student union, because a lot of times I know that I wanted to be involved, but I didn't know how. So you just kind of have to look for little ways. And if you have any questions, you can probably email any one of us and we can give you ideas and suggestions. So. All right, thank you very much. And if we could give our TAs a round of applause, not only for being up here, but for doing the hard work they do every class period.
All right, well, that was a bit shorter than I thought, but that's okay. I have a couple of announcements that I wanted to make also. I like to bring speakers to campus, and when I leave this venue today, you won't really see me till the end of the semester, but on March 11th, April 11th, we are bringing a very famous public intellectual by the name of Cornel West. Have any of you heard of him? Cornel West. Put your hand up if you have. Not many. Well, a couple. And let me tell you, it is an honor to have that person here. Some of you know Van Jones. Do you know who Van Jones is? Put your hands up if you know Van Jones. Okay, probably know him from CNN. Well, Cornel West preceded Van Jones, being a premier black public intellectual. He's a hip-hop artist. You should Google him, Cornelwest. The community, we're going to have him in this room. The community all around will come to see him because he's like a rock star. He was at Princeton, he was at Harvard. He caused quite a controversy at Harvard and finally quit. because he was mad at the president of Harvard and just said, "The hell with you," and walked away. Ooh. So I really want to urge you, the tickets are going to be free for SSU students. It's April 11th, a Thursday evening, in this room, and there will be announcements all over campus. Those of you who are taking my other class, the Intro to Soap class, it'll be mandatory to attend. But I would really like to invite all of you, because one of the things about coming to college that does not happen when you're in high school is that you are stretched to meet people and think of things that you would not otherwise experience. Cornell West is one of those experiences. You walk away thinking, my God, I never thought that way. He's a cross between an intellectual, Martin Luther King, and a rap singer. So he's a pretty powerful guy. Now, I want you very much in the next 4 years, 3 years, however long you're here, to really push yourself to do something different. Don't just go off and become a bio major or a chem major or a soc major or an English major and just focus into your class and do nothing else. But it is important for you, and this is really where we like to make an impact. It's very important for all of you to become engaged and concerned citizens. We are teaching you in this class about values and ethics and community and philosophies, and it is not purely intellectual. This is not just stretching your brain, this is stretching your life. And I have to say, when I did the last lecture last semester where they asked faculty members to come and do what would I say if this was the very last time I ever spoke. And the message that I give to students is, you don't have to be a rich person financially to be a rich person emotionally. And that to be a concerned and engaged citizen means to be an interesting person. And that when you walk out of here just with a career, you are not an interesting person. So you need to travel. You need to meet new people in your venues, wherever you are. You need to stretch yourself and become an engaged and an interesting human being. And so on that note, I'm going to let you all go and say thank you. It's been an honor to teach you. And don't forget to have look out for the exam. Bye-bye.